we are looking at the war between France and the rest of Europe. Our question says, examine the causes and effects of the revolutionary wars between 1792 and 1799. Before you continue, I emphasize to you our Kasoma Farouk of Uganda's idea, no one is coming in your life. No one is coming in your what? In your life. The government is busy, your clan is busy, even your friends are busy. So it's upon you to liberate yourself. So we are saying the revolutionary wars were the wars between France and other European powers fought between 1792 and 1799. They started in April 1792 with the declaration of war against Austria by France. We are realizing Britain, Russia, Spain, Prussia, Holland, Sardinia formed coalitions with Austria against a country called what? France. So we are challenging minds. What were the causes of the revolutionary wars? Number one, the French Revolution of 1789. And of course, the determination of the revolutionaries to promote the doctrines of liberty, equality, and fraternity. I can tell you this revolution, after the success in France, the revolutionaries said they wanted to promote these ideas in other European countries. Other European countries were not happy. What they did, they formed coalitions to fight against a country called what? France. Because they didn't want these ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity. So after these people succeeding in France, they promised to give support to others to rise up in their countries. It is this that made European powers to join hands together to fight against the revolutionary France. Then the execution of Louis XVI in January 1793. I can tell you, at a time when Louis XVI was losing support, finally the revolutionaries executed Louis XVI. Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette had a baby of 3 months. They executed Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, and the baby was imprisoned for the first time in history. So by this time, the execution of Louis XVI annoyed the other European powers. What they did, they joined hands together to fight against the revolutionary France, because Louis XVI was their friend. So they could not just leave Louis XVI just die just like that. Then the anti-revolutionary activities of the immigrants against France. Immigrants, these were relatives and friends to Louis XVI. They were harbored in Austria. They were planning to come back and overthrow the revolutionary government. This annoyed the revolutionary government. What it did, it declared war against Austria. Austria was supported by Britain, Russia, Prussia, and this led to the war between France and the rest of Europe. Another one, the issuing of the Edict of Fraternity by the French National Convention government in 1792. When they declared the Edict of Fraternity, it meant by this time that these people were determined to promote the revolution in other European countries. What other countries did was to join hands together to fight against the revolutionary France. Then the issuing of the Brunswick Manifesto. Brunswick was an Austro-Prussian commander. This man issued a manifesto and said he was going to attack the revolutionaries if they continued to kill the supporters of Louis XVI. And this annoyed the revolutionary government. It had to declare war against Austria. And Austria was supported by Britain, Russia, Prussia, and other countries, which led to the revolutionary wars between 1792 and 1799. Then the weakness of the Legislative Assembly of 1791. Let me tell you today, the Legislative Assembly was full of younger men, unexperienced, driven with honor. They wanted to prove that they are strong. So by this time, they threatened to attack Austria. This made Austria to get support from Britain, Russia, and this led to the revolutionary wars. Younger men took political power. Then the emergence of political clubs in France, like the Jacobins Club. Let me tell you, these political clubs, their ambition was to spread the ideas of the French Revolution in other European countries. And by this time, other European countries could not accept this. It is this that led to the revolutionary wars between 1792 and 1799. Then, of course, the declaration of the civil constitution of the clergy. Let me tell you today, these people declared the civil constitution of the clergy, which decreased the privileges of the Catholic Church. This annoyed other European powers because they wanted the Catholic Church to have so many privileges. And of course, this led to the war between France and the rest of Europe. That's the revolutionary wars. Then the death of Leopold II, March 1792. Let me tell you today, Leopold II died in 1792. Though Leopold was not supporting the revolutionary government, he was a great friend to Louis XVI, but he didn't support a war between France and the rest of Europe. But his death made Austria to have a new leader. And by this time, Francis, for him, he supported a war between France and the rest of Europe. That's the revolutionary wars. So a younger man who succeeded, Leopold II, for him he was supporting a war, and this led to the war between France and the rest of Europe. Then the economic interests of the European powers, which were threatened by France. It is said the European powers had economic interests and they were threatened by France. For example, Britain could not accept France to expand its serf. And by this time, Britain had to join Austria to protect its economic interests. And this led to the revolutionary wars. Then the attempt by the foreign powers to stop the reign of terror in France. Younger men who took political power in France led to the reign of terror. They were killing anybody who was supporting the Bourbon monarchy. This annoyed other powers. They could not just leave these younger men to kill people. What they did, they launched a war against the revolutionary France. And this led to the revolutionary wars. Another one, the declaration of France as a republic. Let me tell you, these people that took political power declared France a what? A republic. In other words, France was supposed to be led by a president. This annoyed other European powers. They joined hands together to fight against the revolutionary France. Another one, the desire for territorial gains by winning wars. Some countries supported this war because they wanted territorial gains. Even France thought that after defeating countries it was going to get territories, and this led to the revolutionary wars because they wanted to gain territories. Then the aggressive policy of the directory government. A new government that took political power. Directory government was very what? Aggressive. In other words, it was not willing to be conquered by other countries. So it wanted to expand its influence. This annoyed the other European powers. They joined hands together to fight against a country called what? France. Then the execution of Marie Antoinette, the most beautiful woman of her time. When Marie Antoinette was executed, this annoyed other European powers. They joined hands together to fight against what? Against France. Then the confiscation of the property of the nobles and the clergy. The new government confiscated the property of the nobles and the what? And the clergy. And this annoyed the other European powers. They joined hands together to fight against the revolutionary France. Then the anti-revolutionary activities of Louis XVI. For example, he tried to escape at Varennes, the border of France and Austria. And by this time, even his supporters turned against him. And this led to the revolutionary wars. Then the expansionist policy of France. France had expansionist policy. It was never contented in its mind. It was this expansionist policy of France that led to the revolutionary wars. Because countries joined hands together to fight against what? France. Then Britain's hostility towards the French revolutionaries. Let me tell you, Britain was hostile towards the French what? Revolutionaries. This annoyed the French revolutionaries and led to the revolutionary wars. Of course, between France and the rest of what? The rest of Europe. So friends, you need to understand the key causes of the revolutionary wars between 1792 and 1790.